Guys, Revolver Rustler here, and this is going to be my WWE NXT Takeover London predictions. But first, two things. So the first thing is, as I mentioned in my last video, which I believe was my TLC review, right? Yeah, which was a great show, by the way. Check out the pay-per-view and check out the review. Literally, it's a great show. I said that my next episode of Video Game Versus will be, I believe I said it was going to be Mass Effect 2 versus Uncharted 2. Well, in this episode, in this predictions video, I will now confirm my next Video Game Versus will be Uncharted 2 Among Thieves versus Mass Effect 2. There's some awful glare there. So these two games are going to battle it out. It's going to be which is the best sequel. I know I'm going to enjoy it. I've already sort of started typing it up. I'm looking forward to this. Two of my favourite games. One of them might be my favourite game of all time. I'm not going to hint at which one. If you know Ross, then you know I am. Next thing, Deadpool t-shirt. That's awesome. And another thing, which I actually just remembered. If you watched Raw last night, you were in for a hell of a show. But you're in for a hell of a show for, I think, two main reasons. One, the 8-man tag match between the Wyatts and the 8-man Extreme Rules match between the Wyatt family and Team Extreme was great. And Eric Rowan actually looked good. He actually got the pinfall. Awesome. Really good match. Some good spots. Good back and forth. Everybody got to do something. And Eric Rowan didn't look like a fool. And the other reason you were treated to a great show was the Roman Reigns triumph. In the same city that Roman Reigns was booed out of the building back in January at the Royal Rumble, he wins the WWE World Heavyweight title by beating Sheamus, by beating Vince McMahon, by beating Stephanie and the League of Nations. Reigns' story this year has been great, and I think it encapsulated off. I felt quite emotional. I felt like Reigns had done it. I feel like he'd won over the audience, and in the end, he did. I don't care how he did it. I think he did it through hard work. I think the guy had some of the best matches this year with the likes of Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, Big Show. Pull one of those off. Ask Brock Lesnar to pull one of those off. Even Brock Lesnar can't get a really good match out of Big Show. Roman Reigns can. Who else is there? I do prefer Brock Lesnar, I'm just saying. Rollins, Ambrose, the one with Sheamus at TLC. Reigns has had an incredible year. He's not my superstar of the year. That goes to Rollins. But Reigns has had an incredible year. And it's culminated in him winning the WWE World title on Raw. First time the World title was changed on Raw in... must be since Miz cashed in. Honestly. It must be since Miz cashed in. Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's 5 years ago. That's 5 years ago this month. So, wow. Incredible night. I think Reigns deserved it. I think the whole build-up with Stephanie saying you're going to be fired, with Vince saying, you know what, if you lose, you are fired. At that point, we knew Reigns was going to win, but there was always that, oh my god, he might not. And that was amazing. That was so cool to feel, and credit to Roman Reigns. The match with Sheamus was really entertaining, and I genuinely felt quite emotional. I felt like he had done it. I felt like for someone who was given so much at the start and he was booked far too quickly, now Reigns is the man to lead that company. And he's not the best. I don't think he's the best still. But I think he's the right guy at the moment to have the belt. Not Sheamus, who had a 1 month reign that's not going to be remembered. But he gave the belt to the right guy in Roman Reigns. So that's what makes me happy. But let's get back on to NXT Takeover London. And for the first time in probably over a year, this show might not be as good as the WWE show that preceded it. So TLC was an incredible show, by the way, guys. It was really damn good. It wasn't the best show of the year, but it was great. TLC might be better than NXT Takeover London. And when I look at the NXT Takeover London card, that's not because it's a bad card. There's just one or two matches that just sort of seem random. I hope we see a Sami Zayn match. I can't, say there is actually going to be a Sami Zayn match. But I hope there is one. I hope Austin Aries debuts. I hope we get a bunch like James Storm maybe. I hope there's a bunch of other guys that maybe do something. Jordan Gable, please. Jordan Gable, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, those sort of guys. But we should actually get on to the actual the show now, and we'll save the main event obviously till last. We'll start off with Asuka versus Emma. Emma, of course, have Dana Brooke in her corner. Fairly obvious, Asuka is going to win, but I do like how they booked Emma. Emma's just a great heel. Emma is such a great heel. One, she's really hot as a heel. In terms of, like, attire and stuff and gimmick, she's really hot. In both the attractive sense and in terms of actually being red hot. She's really good at the moment. And that, I think the partnership with Dana Brooke works well. I think Dana Brooke does need some mic work. But she's not going to be talking in this match. She's not even going to be in the match. But in the end, Asuka is going to win. Asuka's been great in the ring. Oh, the arm bars are so good. The armbar transitions, which she does, are so good. And in the end, I assume Asuka will be winning with the Asuka lock. This should be a fine match. Should be enjoyable. It won't be great, but it should be enjoyable. So I'm pretty sure about that prediction. I feel like I'm at least going to get one right on this card, because it's a fairly unpredictable card. I'll give it that. TLC wasn't the most predictable card. Well, I predicted most of TLC right. I think I got 6-2. This card, I'm looking at getting maybe 3 right. Next up, Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin. Again, I feel like this is one of the predictable ones. Baron Corbin isn't going to win. He's going to lose on the 3rd straight pay-per-view, because, of course, he lost in the final of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic at the last pay-per-view. Before that, he lost to Samoa Joe, even though he did win one match on the last pay-per-view, but he shouldn't have won it. Jordan Gable should have gone over. But Baron Corbin is going to lose again. I'm fine with that, because I think Baron Corbin has established himself as a guy who doesn't like, he takes a loss and it's just like, oh, it's just one. It's alright, because he's got so many to rack up. He's racked up so many, so it's fine him just losing one. Apollo Crews and Corbin should have a decent match. I think it should be some good back and forth. These guys could have good chemistry, considering the size, the difference in styles. You've got the athletic style of Crews. You've got the big brawling style of Corbin. Should be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it, but Apollo Crews is going to be picking up the victory, and I'm genuinely very sure that is going to happen. Bayley versus Nia Jax for the NXT Women's title, and why am I smiling? The only match I'm not looking forward to on this show, and it's a Bayley match. What the hell? How can I not be looking forward to a Bayley match? Bayley. 2 best matches this year featured Bayley, and I'm not looking forward to the match. Why is that, you say? Because Nia Jax is her opponent. The issue here is that I think Nia Jax is going to win. And that just, to me, that undoes everything that Bayley's reign has done. I think Bayley's reign has been about, you know, being there and having these exceptional matches and being champion because of the performances. If Nia Jax comes in and wins the belt, I thought Eva Marie was going to do it. I genuinely thought Eva Marie was going to win the belt from Bayley, because I didn't know the Nia Jax match had been booked. So I was crying when I found out that Eva Marie was going to go against Bayley. Eva Marie will probably be at ringside for Nia Jax. I think it says it here, actually. No, Nia Jax won't be accompanied by Eva Marie, apparently. That's really random. Okay, then. So, yeah, Nia Jax will be on her own. If Nia Jax squashes Bayley, I will cry. Bayley needs to come up to the main roster by WrestleMania, I totally agree, but I don't know if Nia Jax is the right person to give it to. I personally, when I looked at the feuds that Bayley was going to have, I saw Alexa Bliss as a transitional rival. So it was just going to be a feud that could just go on and be done. But now I know that Bayley's probably going to lose to Nia Jax, I would have just rather lost the belt to Alexa Bliss or Emma or Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke really is the only one I think could beat. The thing with Nia Jax, right? Nia Jax, she's not the best worker. She's fine, but she's not the best. I don't think she needs the belt yet. There's probably some influence there because she's The Rock's cousin. If you didn't know that, now you do, and your opinion of Nia Jax might have slightly changed. But there's probably that. She isn't good enough to be champion. When I look at the NXT champions, Paige was the first one, she was the best there. Charlotte was the second one, she was the best there. Sasha Banks was the next one, she was the best there. Bayley was the best one, probably ever. Well, apart from Sasha Banks. But Bayley's the best one there at the moment. Nia Jax isn't. When Nia Jax takes the belt, and I'm genuinely so sure she's going to win the belt, and if Bayley does generally retain, I am going to freaking scream, like, in happiness, because I am going to predict Nia Jax is going to win. So let me just say that. I'm going to predict Nia Jax is going to win the NXT Women's title. I'm going to cry if my prediction is right. This is the one prediction I want to get wrong. I don't think I've ever wanted a prediction to go wrong. This one I want to go wrong. If Bayley wins, I will cry my eyes out in happiness. If Nia Jax wins, I will cry my eyes out in sadness. I just don't see how Bayley can beat Nia Jax. And when Nia Jax wins the belt, I feel like because it's been so quick, it's kind of like Goldberg. She's the female Goldberg, but Goldberg had time to build. Nia Jax hasn't. She has one real impressive victory over Carmella, and that's it. Carmella's the biggest star she's been. Carmella's very talented. She's actually very underrated and very underused. Get her on the show. I know she's going to be on the show because she's going to be with the Enzo and Cass, obviously. So, that's cool. But that's all Nia Jax has done. She hasn't beaten anybody else. When Bayley was going for the women's title, they established her as a great contender because she beat Emma and Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Nia Jax hasn't beaten enough to get the title shot. Neither did Eva Marie. She beat Carmella, I think, and that's kind of it. I think she's beaten Alexa Bliss on a few house shows, but that's kind of it. So, I'm going to go with Nia Jax to win the NXT Women's title. I just hope she doesn't. But that is my prediction. My prediction is Nia Jax is going to win the NXT Women's title. Hopefully, Bayley will come up to the main roster, prosper, hopefully, and give the Diva division a little bit more life. It's kind of needed it. Because the Revolution's very iffy on the moment. It's not bad. It hasn't totally destroyed itself. There's something there. Team Bad are doing very well at the moment with their like New Day-esque gimmick. Charlotte's fine, I guess. Paige is good and Becky's over as balls. So, that's fine. If Bayley comes up, she's going to get huge pops. Even though the crowd might not know who she is. I'll know who she is. So, yeah. And the other thing is who's going to take the belt off Nia Jax when she wins it? There's no one in that division at the moment. Because when I look at a division, when I look at NXT specifically, I always look at who the next champ is, so that guy, the current champ, can go up to the main roster. So when Bayley beat Sasha Banks, I was like, Sasha Banks is already on the main roster, so she's fine. Who was going to be the next champ after Bayley? I thought it was going to be Carmella or Alexa Bliss. It turns out it's probably going to be none of them. Who is going to be the champ after Nia Jax? And I know I'm probably thinking it too much because I'm dead set that Nia Jax is going to win. And if Bayley does win, I'm going to freaking be amazed and happy and cry on camera. The match, I think, in terms of quality, I think Bayley could get it to be decent. But I don't think it'll be incredible. It probably won't have been good. It'll just be decent. If they can surprise me, then go out there and do it, ladies. But I just think it'll be decent. So who is going to take the belt off Nia Jax? There's no one in that division at the moment that really can. I think Dana Brooke is the closest, but she's a heel, so it's a very interesting picture, I guess. Moving on to the tag team title match, we have Dash and Dawson, the new champions, who beat the Vaudevillains a few weeks ago. Good on them, I liked it. Against Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy with Carmella. Enzo and Cass came back on NXT with this malicious intent to hurt and get revenge on Dash and Dawson. That was freaking awesome. That was so good from Enzo and Cass. Enzo is such a good mic worker. Such a good mic worker. His promo skills are really, really great. His in-ring skills are fine. Cass's skills are fine. Dash and Dawson are good. We should have a decent... Well, actually, I think we should have a very good tag match here. Good back and forth. But in the end, I am going to go with Dash and Dawson to retain the tag titles, because someone on this pay-per-view needs to retain, don't they? And that kind of helps you for my main event prediction. So I'm going to go with Dash and Dawson so that they can eventually go on to feud with Jordan and Gable, because we all are ready, willing, and Gable. Main event time, and we have one of the biggest main events in NXT history, and the match that could be the best match of this week, even though I probably would give it to the ladder match at the moment. Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe for the NXT title. Oh my god, how do we do this? How do we choose if Finn Balor or Samoa Joe is going to win? Because of the way they've booked it, it's been very uneven. Joe has dominated the rivalry, so that makes me think Finn Balor is going to win. But on the flip side, Joe has been so dominant, and Balor is ready to make the transition to the main roster. Why don't we give the belt to Joe? Interesting. When I look at the card and see who I've actually picked, so I've got, because you need to always really balance the heel-face thing, and NXT balance it a little bit more than most. I would say, because I went face, heel, face, heel. So I'm going to go, this is a very hard match to predict. I was very set on picking Samoa Joe, because of how I just felt that Balor was ready for the main roster. I'm going to change. I don't think Samoa Joe is going to win anymore. I think Finn Balor is going to win, because they need another face to win on this card. And in the main event, I think Finn Balor could pull off what would, to be honest, be an upset against Samoa Joe. Joe has dominated Balor in this whole feud. So, have Balor win and retain the NXT title to lose it at a later date to Apollo Crews. And that's what I think is going to happen after Crews beats Corbin. So, thanks for watching, guys. This has been my NXT Takeover London, which gets extra points because it's in London. NXT Takeover London predictions. Like, comment, subscribe for more. This has been Revolver Wrestler.